How to deliver a good speech. Previously, we have talked a lot about strategic part of making a speech. Getting your questions right, getting your tactics right, having right components in your pitch, having a good formula for making a convincing speech. But now we are standing there in front of people, in front of the audience, in front of investors. They're all looking at us and we need to open our mouth. So let's now discuss a few important elements, how to deliver the speech in a way that would be memorable and that would support your message and not work against it. The first element is first impression. First impression is left in seconds. It's immediate. It's often even before you can open your mouth. Don't forget that you're asking investors for money, so they really need to trust you. But if you are shaking there like a leaf, if you're not self-confident, if you drop your papers, if you really struggle to find words, then what kind of a message that sends? Would you trust anyone like that? And would you give them money, 10, 20, 30, 100,000 euros? So first impressions are not simply left. They are not out of our control. We can control them. We can create first impressions. Think about all senses. Think about how we look, what kind of clothing that we wear. Think about how we sound, what kind of sound we make. Think about the first touch when we go in a room and give a handshake. All these elements are important. So be confident, think about it, and I recommend make a video training. Look at yourself on the video and try to see what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths, so you can work with your weaknesses and rely more on your strengths. Body language is considered the most important element in conveying a message. It's even said that it is more important than what you say. And that reason is actually evolutionary, because we can easily lie. We can easily say whatever we want, but it's very difficult to cheat on our body language. So good gestures, good posture, eye contact, smile is very important to create that confidence. Be open. Use open gestures like this. Avoid being nervous. Avoid being closed and hunched like this. Body language helps to create the pathos, the emotion in the room, to engage the audience. Paralanguage. You might not have heard that word before, paralanguage, but paralanguage means the vocal component of your speech. That's the sounds we make. That's how high or low we are speaking, how quickly we are speaking. What is the rhythm, the pace of our speech? Can we make pauses? Can we stress some of the words? The most important thing in any public speech is to avoid being monotonous. If we talk like this all the time for 10 minutes, then people simply go to sleep. So you have to use your voice to make people understand which are the more important elements of your speech and maybe which are the less important elements of your speech. Use dynamics. Be rhythmical. If necessary, you can repeat some of the key messages to make sure that people understand your message. Never forget that if you speak and if your listeners, if your audience, if the investors in the room do not understand something, it is not their fault. It is your fault. You failed to make sure that people in the room understand that they are with you all the way. And your voice has a very, very important role to play. So make sure you speak clearly. That's very important. Make sure that you speak loudly enough that people hear you. Even the last person in the last row, everybody should hear you. And make sure you be different rhythms. You use different rhythms within your speech. In addition to the way we speak, so our body language, and how we sound when we speak, our paralanguage, it's also important how we move in the room. It's called proxemics. It means that if you are standing like a robot in one place and you don't do gestures and you don't move, then you seem unnatural. You seem like a statue. And the natural being for people is to move, to show, to gesticulate. So be sure you move around, not run around, but move around. If necessary, make a few steps closer to the audience and then back. Be definitely in the central position. Avoid being in the corner, somewhere behind the podium. Come to the very center that everybody can see you. Speak in words that everybody can hear you. And I guarantee that this helps to make much better impression of whatever you have to say. And the last tip, use good visuals. To be in front of investors might be once or twice in a lifetime experience. You might never have another chance in front of those particular people. So make sure you use absolutely everything you have to convince them. If you want to get a lot of money from your investors, but you have ugly templates on your PowerPoint slides, nobody will give you the money. If you say that you believe in design, but your own visuals are very badly designed, what kind of message does that send? Don't forget that visuals always take away some of the attention from you. So make sure that you don't compete with your slides, but they only support what you have to say. Don't ever have bullet points on your slides. Don't ever read your slides in front of your audience. Please do not stand with your back to your audience reading the slides. That's the worst thing you can do. Also be careful not to have mistakes, spelling mistakes, factual mistakes, because audience will listen and watch carefully, and any mistake threatens your credibility. And finally, enjoy. Giving a pitch, doing a public speaking in front of people can be very, very difficult exercise for many. But once you're there and doing it, it gives you such an excitement. It gives you this boost of adrenaline. This is a way to communicate your cause, your future, your idea, your concept to a larger audiences. So use it, enjoy it. What is very, very important is that you know how do you look like in front of people. So again, really try to ask your friends to sometimes sit in the audience and give you honest feedback. Try to organize video training. Let them use your mobiles to take a video of you and then look at that. I know people don't like to hear themselves and see themselves on the video, but it's so important to see what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. And never forget that in this time and age where we live, having a great idea is sometimes not enough. You also have to be good in communicating that idea. So with all these tips in this online course, I hope you can be slightly more memorable, more effective, and better as a public speaker, and that your company has a better future because of this. Thank you. Thank you for watching the Public Speaking and Investor Pitch online course. I hope it was useful and you found some practical suggestions and recommendations for your future. You will find more links and videos and materials below, and don't forget to take the test so you would see if you remember all the tips correctly. Enjoy.